4 sisters took the same photo every year for 40 years. Their final picture will break your heart. What if you could capture time itself? In 1975, photographer Nixon took a simple portrait of his wife and her 3 sisters. No one knew then that this single moment would become a lifelong tradition. For 40 years, they stood together, year after year, as time etched itself onto their faces. Youth faded, bonds deepened, and an unspoken story unfolded, one of love, resilience, and the quiet march of time. Now, as we reach their final photograph, one question remains. What does time leave behind? A timeless tradition, how one photograph became a 40-year project. One summer day in 1975, photographer Nixon was visiting his wife's family when he had a spontaneous idea. He asked his wife and her 3 sisters if he could take their picture. They agreed, and the result was a striking black and white portrait of 4 young women standing side by side, their arms gently overlapping, dressed in casual summer attire, framed against a soft, tree-lined backdrop. A year later, at one of the sisters' graduation ceremonies, Nixon pulled out his camera once again. As he prepared to capture the moment, he suggested they stand in the same order as before. When he saw the image, an idea took shape. What if they made this a tradition? He asked if they'd be willing to take the same photo every year. They seemed fine with it, he later recalled. And with that simple agreement, a lifelong project was born. For nearly 4 decades, Nixon continued capturing the sisters in the same formation, documenting the passage of time with each frame. The series, which has been exhibited in galleries worldwide, remains one of his most iconic works. Now, the entire collection will be showcased at the Museum of Modern Art, coinciding with the release of The Brown Sisters, 40 Years, a book that brings together this extraordinary visual chronicle. The Brown Sisters, a mystery told through unwavering gazes. Who are these sisters? We're never given a full backstory, though we do know their names: Heather, Mimi, Bebe, and Lori. Bebe, the one with the piercing gaze, is Nixon's wife. Beyond that, the details of their lives remain a mystery. At first, the natural instinct is to search for hints. Are they of Irish descent? Perhaps old New England stock, with their understated, unpolished elegance. But before long, those questions fade. What truly captivates is the way they meet the camera head-on, year after year. Their expressions aren't performative or exaggerated. They don't seek to impress or conceal. Instead, they hold steady, their stares unwavering, sometimes guarded, sometimes revealing just a flicker of emotion, but always making a quiet, undeniable connection with the viewer. Unscripted and Unfiltered, the natural beauty of the Brown Sisters. When a woman is photographed, there's often an unspoken question of vanity. How much is she aware of the camera? How does she want to be seen? But Nixon sidesteps this entirely. His approach is simple and unforced, relying on natural light, minimal preparation, and an easygoing atmosphere. The sisters never plan their outfits in advance or coordinate their looks. There's no discussion about what to wear, no attempt to curate an image. As Bebe Nixon puts it plainly, we just wear what we feel like wearing that day. And that's part of what makes these portraits so compelling. They aren't performances. They are honest, unfiltered snapshots of time passing, year after year. The beauty of time, aging, endurance, and the Brown Sisters. As we follow the Brown Sisters through the years, we witness the gradual, inevitable process of aging, the humbling reality that comes with time. While most of us can acknowledge the things we've gained as we grow older, wisdom, experience, perhaps even a deeper sense of gratitude, the visible marks of aging, like lines around the mouth and sagging skin, are not often counted among them. There's something bittersweet about seeing the sisters' faces change, their jowls becoming more pronounced, the vitality of youth slowly giving way to the passage of time. Yet, while there's a quiet sadness in these changes, there's also a strength that emerges. They are not defined by these signs of aging. As we look closer at each photo, we notice that the sorrow we see in their eyes, or the added weight in their brows, doesn't diminish their presence. Instead, it enriches it. Aging, in this series, is not a process of unraveling. It is a testament to resilience. The photographs show us the truth of what it means to grow older, but they also reveal something more powerful. This is what endurance, grace, and the passage of time look like. The Unbreakable Bond: How Sisterhood Endures Through Time. More than just a record of aging, this series captures something deeper: the endurance of sisterhood. Nixon, an only child, has long been fascinated by the unique bond between sisters, and that curiosity is woven into every frame. Over the years, their connection becomes more visible. In the early photos, they stand with a touch more distance, arms crossed or held at their sides, small gestures asserting their individuality. But as time moves forward, those boundaries soften. They begin to lean into one another, their physical closeness mirroring an unspoken understanding. Their hands tell a story all their own. One sister's arm draped over another's shoulder, a hand resting at a waist, fingers gently clasping a neck in quiet reassurance. There's no need for words. The bond is expressed in every touch. The power of these images is undeniable. When a collection of 36 prints was displayed in Granada, Spain, the emotional weight was so profound that some visitors openly wept. The series isn't just about the passage of time, it's about love, resilience, and the unshakable strength of family. How Nixon became part of the story. The bond between the sisters isn't the only relationship that has deepened over the years, so has their connection with Nixon. From the beginning, each sister has had a say in selecting which photo would represent the year, but in the last decade, this process has evolved into a true collaboration. There was a time when Nixon made the final call, but that has changed. Once, when the sisters unanimously preferred a shot different from his choice, he stepped back and let them decide. "I have to be fair here," he admitted. Nixon's presence in the series is subtle but unmistakable. In the early years, 1981, 1983, and 1984, his shadow appears in the frame, cast across their faces alongside the outline of his 8x10 camera. It's as if, for a moment, he was trying to place himself within the sisterhood, to become part of their world. But over time, his role as photographer and observer transformed into something deeper. The way the sisters now look at the camera, at him, reveals a quiet trust, a warmth that goes beyond subject and artist. It's a bond built over decades, captured in every frame. "We've gotten close," Nixon reflects, and the images prove it. A Silent Legacy: The Brown Sisters and the Power of Privacy. As we reach the final images in the series, an undeniable truth settles in: time is unstoppable. As Nixon himself reflects, everyone won't be here forever. This reality is subtly woven into the photographs. The colors grow deeper, the sisters stand closer, their figures almost clinging to one another, as if bracing against the inevitable. Looking at these portraits, we might feel a sense of connection, a belief that we truly know these women after watching them age year by year. And yet, there's a quiet resistance in their faces, a reminder that while they allow us to see them, they never truly let us in. This quiet guard is especially noticeable in the early years: the slight downturn of an eyebrow, a mouth set firmly shut, a posture that hints at hesitation. Unlike many subjects in modern photography, these women are not seeking attention. In a world where everyone is both photographer and self-made star, The Brown sisters remain an anomaly. Nixon's work presents a striking contradiction: images that reveal the passage of time while fiercely protecting the subject's inner lives. Through every passing year, through every shadow and softened line, the message remains the same. Yes, you may look at us, but who we are, that you'll never truly know. Capturing truth, the timeless photography of the Brown sisters. Over the decades, photography evolved. Digital cameras took over, filters became the norm, and editing tools could erase imperfections with a click. But Nicholas Nixon never wavered. He stuck with his trusted 8x10 camera and black and white film. Why? Because this project was never about fancy technology. It was about capturing raw, unfiltered truth, each moment as it was, without embellishment. What's fascinating is that the sisters never shared their personal stories. We don't know who they loved, what careers they pursued, or what heartbreaks they endured. But if you look closely, it's all there. In their eyes, in the way they stand, in how they lean on each other. Over the years, subtle shifts reveal when life was hard. You can almost feel the weight of sorrow in one frame, resilience in the next. No words were needed, just time, honesty, and an unbreakable bond. The final portrait, a lifetime in one frame. After 40 years, the journey came to an end, and that last photograph, that final image, carries a weight beyond words. The sisters are no longer the youthful women from the early frames. Time has etched its story on their faces, their hair now silver, their expressions softened by years of shared experiences. But what makes this photo unforgettable isn't just the passage of time. It's the love, the quiet understanding, the unshakable bond they share. They lean into one another, not just in posture, but in spirit. Their eyes, filled with wisdom, reflect a lifetime of laughter, sorrow, and resilience. And then, there's Mimi, once so serious, so guarded. Now she smiles, a smile so warm, so full of peace, that it catches you off guard. It's the kind of smile that makes you feel something deep in your soul, the kind that reminds us what truly matters. The beauty of time etched in their faces. This final image doesn't bring tears because it marks the end. It moves us because it reveals the true essence of beauty, not the fleeting kind found in youth, but the deep, lasting beauty of a life fully lived. Every wrinkle tells a story. The lines near their eyes, proof of years spent laughing. The creases around their mouths, a lifetime of shared smiles. Even the furrows on their foreheads speak of love, of worries for family, of moments that mattered. Their faces are not just aging. They are maps of experience, etched with memories. And the most powerful part? They never hid from time. They embraced it, allowing the world to witness their journey. And in doing so, they showed us what it truly means to live. The timeless lesson of the Brown sisters. The Brown sisters' story teaches us a profound truth. Beauty isn't about staying young forever. It's about embracing every chapter of life with grace, love, and an open heart. Each wrinkle isn't a loss. It's a mark of experience, a testament to laughter, love, and resilience. True courage is showing the world your real face, one shaped by time, not hidden from it. This project became more than a collection of photographs. It became a powerful message about family, about the passage of time, and about the quiet, undeniable beauty of a life well lived. The eternal message of the Brown sisters. When we look at that final photograph, our tears aren't of sorrow, they're of recognition. We see our own lives reflected in theirs, our own journeys etched in their faces. These aren't tears of loss, but of gratitude. A reminder that aging isn't an ending, but a chapter filled with wisdom, love, and quiet beauty. In a world obsessed with defying time, the Brown sisters taught us the only way to truly conquer it, by embracing it. Their story remains a testament to honesty, self-acceptance, and the love that only deepens with time. Interesting, this group of friends has been taking the same pose in photos for 35 years. Friendship is easy to claim but difficult to prove over time. Life pulls us in different directions: careers, family, responsibilities, making it nearly impossible to keep the same connections we once had. But for 5 men from Santa Barbara, California, a simple tradition has become a powerful testament to loyalty, nostalgia, and the enduring strength of true friendship. It all started in 1982. Fresh out of high school, these 5 young men, Wardlaw, Dixon, Rumor Cleary, Bernie, and Moloney, posed together at Copco Lake, sitting on an old wooden bench. They had no idea that this single snapshot would turn into a lifelong tradition. But 5 years later, they returned to the same spot and took another photo. Then they did it again, and again. Now, more than 3 decades later, their tradition continues. Every 5 years, no matter where life takes them, they reunite at Copco Lake, sit on that same bench, and strike the same pose. Their faces have changed, youthful grins replaced by the marks of time. Hairlines have receded, and a few gray strands have appeared. But one thing remains the same: their bond. This tradition isn't just about photography. It's about keeping a promise. It's about proving that no matter how much life changes, some things, some people, are worth holding on to. Their story became an internet sensation, capturing the hearts of millions worldwide. Even they were surprised by the response. Dixon recalled, "We never expected our photos to be everywhere. Friends from all over the world reached out, telling us how much they admired our friendship." Now in their 50s, 2 of the 5 have built careers in photography and filmmaking, perhaps a fitting twist of fate, but their ultimate goal? To keep taking these photos for as long as possible. They've even made a heartfelt agreement. When only one of them remains, he will sit on the bench alone, honoring their decades of friendship in one final image. And after that, they hope someone else will carry on the tradition, proving that while time may change faces, true friendship is forever. Same photo, same location, 68 years apart. A photograph captures more than just a moment. It preserves a piece of history. And when you compare 2 photos taken nearly 7 decades apart, you don't just see the passage of time, you feel it. On April 2nd, 1951, photographer Sam Falk took a series of black and white images for the New York Times Magazine, capturing the essence of everyday life in New York City. Fast forward to April 2nd, 2019, and Times photographer Tony Senecola recreated those same shots, this time in color. The result? A striking visual timeline of change and continuity. Side by side, these images tell a fascinating story. The stiff suits and polished shoes of the 1950s give way to today's more relaxed, casual attire. Film cameras are replaced by smartphones and digital lenses. Even the energy of the city feels different, more vibrant, more modern. But amid all this evolution, one thing remains almost untouched: the iconic backdrop of New York itself. Rockefeller Center, Central Park, and St. Patrick's Cathedral stand as silent witnesses to the march of time, anchoring the past to the present. More than just a comparison of technology, this project poses a bigger question. How has photography and the way we document life evolved over 68 years? 30 pictures taken at the same location at different points in time. 100 rare historical photos revealed, untold stories from the past. This photo shows Margaret Ann Neve, an American woman who passed away in 1902 at the age of 110. Born in 1792, she lived across 3 centuries. A woman inspects the newly introduced seatbelt in her car, circa 1950s. Washington, D.C. Marcy Borders, known as the Dust Lady, after escaping the North Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th. She later died of cancer at age 42. A vintage photograph of a child wearing a monkey mask, 1920s. A mother and daughter posing playfully for the camera, circa 1900. Blackfoot Chief Two Guns White Calf, early 1900s. Barack Obama visiting his step-grandmother, Sarah Ogwell Onyango Obama, in Kenya, 1988. Known affectionately as Grandma Sarah, she was the third and youngest wife of Obama's grandfather. A lucky British soldier shows off his damaged helmet, 1917. Until 1956, French children were served wine with their school lunch. A 5-megabyte IBM hard drive, 1956. Father and son crying as they say goodbye to their relatives who are boarding a boat to Buenos Aires in search of a better life during the economic hardship in Spain, 1957. In 1958, car seat safety was rudimentary, with seats lacking any straps. Instead, they relied on the mother extending her arm to prevent the baby from toppling forward. First Lady Nancy Reagan cozies up with Mr. Ton Christmas, 1983. Children in London celebrate Christmas in an underground bomb shelter, December 25, 1940. Gertrude Ederle, the first woman to swim across the English Channel on August 26, 1926. Dance teacher Patsy Swayze, center, with her daughter-in-law Lisa Niemi and son Patrick Swayze, 1978. London, 1940. A girl sits in the wreckage of her bombed-out home, holding her doll. Jane Russell shows her co-star Marilyn Monroe one of her talents, drawing. In this 1953 photo, taken during the filming of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Russell sketches a portrait of Monroe. In Arviat, Nunavut, northern Canada, 1949, an Inuit girl descends into her ice igloo home. Remembering the Father, 1925. Dorothy Counts, the first black student to attend an all-white school in the U.S., being taunted by her white classmates at Harry Harding High School in Charlotte, 1957. On October 7, 1943, Ottla Kafka, the beloved sister of author Franz Kafka, was gassed upon arrival at Auschwitz. She had volunteered to escort a group of orphans from the Terezin ghetto so they wouldn't be afraid. A beautiful Ukrainian girl in national costume, 1935. Photo before and after restoration. A group of friends enjoying the beach and sunshine in the 1940s. Faces of Auschwitz, 1940. Couples at a bar, Pittsburgh, 1959. Armenian women pose for a photograph before going to war against the Ottomans in 1895. Two young men hold a sign proclaiming their love and willingness to be legally married to one another, circa 1900. A woman celebrating her birthday in Tehran, Iran, 1973. A newspaper article from 1963. Patients with rubber dams at the dental clinic of the University of Iowa, 1890s. Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar and his cousin Gustavo Gaviria pose in a staged photo in Las Vegas, 1984, portraying old Western gangsters. It all started with an idea. Father Christmas wears a tin helmet while delivering presents during the London Blitz, 1940. January 1st, 1863, New Year's Day. The Emancipation Proclamation takes effect in Confederate territory. Ella Fitzgerald was arrested after performing for an integrated audience in 1955. January 1st, 1934. Alcatraz Island becomes a United States federal prison. Factory worker and his supervisor in Moscow, 1954. A Coast Guardsman inspects his helmet, damaged by shrapnel in southern France, circa 1940s, from the U.S. National Archives. Chinese citizens smoking opium, 1901. Gene Simmons and 13-year-old Brooke Shields, 1978. Five-year-old Albert Einstein in Munich, 1884. Marilyn Monroe, reading James Joyce's Ulysses in a playground, circa 1955. Fresh air treatment for tuberculosis patients in London, 1936. Police arresting a drunk man in a skeleton costume, 1950. In May 1987, the Golden Gate Bridge's 50th anniversary drew an astonishing crowd of around 800,000 attendees, far exceeding the anticipated 80,000 that event planners had prepared for. A survivor from the Titanic giving a woman an autograph in April 1912. An unknown woman stands dangerously close to a tornado to take a photo, 1989. Early photographs show the Mickey Mouse Club from the 1930s. A 1922 photograph capturing the uncovering of Tutankhamun's tomb. Sabina Chibichi, a Kenyan athlete, won a race in 1973 while barefoot and wearing a dress. Lonnie Johnson, inventor of the Super Soaker, 1992. Aboriginal Tasmanian Fanny Cochrane-Smith recorded her singing on a phonograph in 1903. Without her efforts to preserve her culture, there would be no audio traces of the Tasmanian language. Two young boys stand barefoot on moving electric looms to reach the top shelf while working at a cotton mill in Georgia, 1910. Such photographs of child laborers in dangerous conditions led to the establishment of child labor laws. Grocery shopping in the United States in 1969. First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy sits with her children on Christmas morning, 1962. Elvis Presley signing autographs for fans in California in the 1950s. These visitors found their doppelgangers at a museum. Barbershop in the 1930s, where a fresh haircut would set you back just 25 cents. A then and now comparison of Tokyo, Japan in 1945 and today. American actress Jane Fonda in Free the Army, an anti-Vietnam War theater production, April 1970. A vintage 1970s photo of Marceline Bertrand, mother of Angelina Jolie. Born in 1950, Bertrand was an actress and producer known for her contributions to the entertainment industry. Kings Road, London, August 1967. Dubai, the fastest developed city in history. A Victorian couple of travelers looking rather dandy, taken in the 1890s. Indigenous children forced to pray in a residential school run by the Canadian government and the Catholic Church. A college dorm at the University of Illinois, 1910. Bruce Lee teaching his toddler son Brandon Lee how to fight, 1960s. New York City in the 1960s. Mayan women in the Yucatan Peninsula, circa 1952. Their traditional dress is called the huipil. A photograph from the 1993 Great Flood, when James Scott deliberately sabotaged a levee, triggering a massive Mississippi River flood. His motive? To delay his wife's return home so he could continue partying. This photograph, taken over 100 years ago in Jerusalem, 1920, features a sign reading, "The Palestine German Bank," offering a glimpse into the region's vibrant multicultural history. Titanic Orphans, brothers Michel and Edmund Navratil, 1912. They were the only children rescued from the Titanic without a parent or guardian. A Soviet officer tastes a hot dog and Coca-Cola for the first time aboard the U.S. cruiser, Thomas S. Gates, 1989. Florence and Susie Freermuth, sisters arrested for illegally producing moonshine during Prohibition, 1921. Coca-Cola, one of the first bottles from the 1890s. "12-year-old Freddie Mercury at St. Peter's Boys' School in Panchgani, India, 1958. A 12-year-old Jodie Foster with her body double and sister Connie on the set of Taxi Driver, 1975. A Western tourist who paid to take a photo with a samurai armor on, 1890. A boy reading in a ruined bookshop after a long night of heavy bombing. London, October 1940. Democratically elected President Salvador Allende, seconds before his death during a military coup at the presidential palace in Chile, September 11, 1973. Electric scooters, now considered trendy, actually date back over a century. In the early 1900s, people used them for commuting to school and work. Audrey Hepburn and George Peppard behind the scenes of Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961. Barack Obama dressed as a pirate with his mother, Stanley Ann, in the 1960s. In the middle of a celebration, a young woman from Oaxaca, Mexico, notices she is being photographed and gives the camera a striking look. 1985. Princess Fawzia Fuad of Egypt, Queen of Iran, circa 1939. Republican and Democratic supporters engage in a snowball fight in front of the U.S. Capitol, January 1921. A 112-year-old veteran of World War I and the Russian Civil War, Taimruz Vanacha, with his son, Ivan, a World War II veteran, in 1980. Sisters in Skirts, 1950s. The blizzard of 1888 in New York City, a storm that led to the deaths of more than 400 people. Four-year-old Kurt Cobain, 1971. Jim Carrey and Stephen Hawking meet for the first time. A courier carrying bags of baguettes on a snowy street in Quebec, Canada, 1977. Arnold Schwarzenegger on a bike, 1970s. The evolution of the donut hole from 1927 to 1948. Cross-section of the Titanic. A hiker admiring Mount St. Helens, 1952. Little Inuit Girl and Her Puppy, 1949. Photograph by Richard Harrington. Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion, 1912. Christmas in the German Trenches, World War I, circa 1915. Douglas Brent Hegdahl, an American Navy petty officer, was taken captive during the Vietnam War. A female train conductor in London, 1916. With men off to war at the front, women showed they were capable of handling important jobs. The first interracial marriage in Mississippi took place in 1970, just 3 years after the 1967 Supreme Court ruling in Loving v. Virginia, which legalized interracial marriage in the U.S. The only known photograph of an African-American Union soldier with his family, circa 1864. A sailor meets his baby for the first time after 14 months at sea, 1940s. A mother repairs the family car while her husband is away at war, 1944. Mother and daughter walking in New York, 1970. (1968) My grandfather in the Second Korean War. A man searches for books in the former Cincinnati Public Library before its demolition in 1955. Today, an office building and parking lot stand in its place. A Victorian-era woman with an intense gaze, circa 1850 to 1860s. A man begs for his wife's forgiveness inside a divorce court, Chicago, 1948. Freddie Mercury during Queen's performance at Live Aid, 1985. Julio Iglesias on his private jet with a bottle of wine and a KFC bucket. Famous confrontation between Mike Mentzer and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the backstage of Mr. Olympia, 1980. The World Trade Center under construction, 1970. $3,000 men who were part of building Chase Manhattan Bank pose for a photo at the end of construction work, 1964. An Egyptian man smoking atop the Pyramid of Giza, Egypt, 1981. Albanians storm the dry cargo ship Vlora, demanding to be taken to neighboring Italy, Albania, August 1991. It all started with an idea. A Mixtec woman from Oaxaca in her traditional dress, 1970s. The Mixtec and Zapotec peoples share land, but are entirely different ethnic groups. Her Majesty Queen Marie of Romania, 1896. Albert Einstein and his sister Maya Einstein, New York, 1939. Gertrude Ederle, the first woman to swim across the English Channel, on August 26, 1926. She completed the feat in 14 hours and 31 minutes, breaking the men's record of 16 hours and 33 minutes. History is full of untold stories, and these rare photos have given us a glimpse into moments long forgotten. Each image holds a story that shaped the world in ways we may never fully understand. Which photo fascinated you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and explore more incredible moments from the past in our other videos. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.